welcome back to the Weekend Sports Wrap here with the Duckman live on Pulse FM. We've got special guest on now from the Parramatta podcast, Troy Warner. Troy, how are you going?
Going fantastic, Duckman. Just watching a great game of rugby league, the Dolphins and the Dragons at the moment, but it's been a great weekend of rugby league, the first full round back in Australia after the Las Vegas experiment. And before I go any further, happy St. Patrick's Day to all the Irish listeners out there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So everyone, there's 7 billion Irish people in the world today, apparently. So everyone I've ever met on St. Patrick's Day, even people from Africa and all this, seem to be part Irish, and they tell me about it. And I find it interesting that everyone's a little bit part Irish when it comes to St. Patrick's Day, but they definitely embrace the whole feel and what it's all about, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're one of the most, I guess you could call, favoured people in the world, I guess. Pretty friendly people from what I know. I've never been over to Ireland. Maybe one day I'll get over there. But the most, I guess, famous thing I know from Ireland is probably U2. So, it's a great country and one I'll probably get to, hopefully, one day.
Yeah, it's something I've got to go and see, go over there too. So I had Irish heritage. My family, some of my family anyway, moved to Australia either in, I was trying to work out, it was 1898, I think it was. And my great-grandmother was the first born of all of her family in Australia back in 1904. So, like, they were early settlers for our family, pioneers and that stuff. So another heritage. I got Welsh and Scottish and English as well. And everyone, different lines. Pretty sure most people know about their family trees, and if you don't, you should probably check it out, right? So St. Patrick's Day is normally a day when people start to think about those sorts of things, and it is good to embrace where you're from as well.
And a few good rugby league players have come from Ireland or got Irish heritage in them. Kevin Campion, Luke Ricketson, and I believe Brian Carney. Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
And they made the quarterfinals of the, I think it was 2000 World Cup back there. I think it was in England. First Irish team to make the quarterfinals of a Rugby League World Cup. So they go all right in rugby as well.
Yeah, so, Brian O'Driscoll's one of the world's best centres that's ever played rugby union, and when look at players that could have converted to rugby league and done it easy, he's one of those guys, right? Robust centre, very quick, tough defender and that sort of stuff, and had good running lines. So he would have been really good. Would like to see how he went in the Super League if he had have ever gone across, but he never did. He stuck with Irish rugby throughout his whole career, which was good as well. So let's go right back here to Thursday night. So the controversial little interview on Triple M. You wouldn't have heard it because you were in the stadium. I did hear it when I was leaving here. It just Ben Dobbin grabbed Latrell Mitchell for a quick quote, and Latrell, so I got it up here now, and Latrell decided, I don't know if I really want to do this interview, so I'm just going to tell people what I think. And he dropped F-bomb 4 times. Like, honestly, F. It was F, the first bit anyway. It was a hard game, F. So, and they're like, oh, righty, okay, what's going on here? Then he goes, honestly, the Broncos, the big boys, the competitors, you wonder why they came runners-up last year. It was so effed. We can build on that. I don't really care. I'm swearing, boys, honestly, like, get over it. And then it's going on about his 100th try and all that sort of stuff. So people are not happy with that. Now, Andrew Abdo has said today, he's come out and said, encourages all players to be themselves and be authentic, but need to be professional and set a good example. And when they're doing media interviews, need to be respectful. And he wants to catch up with Latrell, probably just to have a chat and a debrief with him about what happened and just set the expectations. Because I don't think they're actually going to penalise Latrell, which I don't know if they need to. I just think someone needs to just draw a line and say, like, okay, you've done that, we'll move forward. Let's not do it again. So, and next person who does it again, this is what the consequences are going to be.
Well, he certainly has been in the news the last couple of weeks. Obviously, the incident in Las Vegas with Ezra Mam and Spencer Leniu. Latrell was come out in support of Ezra on social media and talking about what Spencer should have got for a suspension. So there was that, and I did catch the highlights of the interview that you're talking about, and Look, for me, I think it's probably... Look, it's not a good look for Latrell. As you said, Andrew Abdo has encouraged players to be themselves and come out and be themselves, but I guess you just can't be talking like that on radio, or TV for that matter. We saw back in 2005, I think the West Tigers, they just won the grand final, so completely sort of, I guess, different situation with those players after the game in 2005, but the one just recently on Thursday night, it was pretty disappointing. I guess kids look up to Latrell, and whoever's on social media and follows, Triple M on social media would have seen that, and obviously they were listening to the radio as well, so it's been all over the radio over the weekend. People have come out for Latrell. People have said, like me, it's pretty disappointing. And look, I saw an interview with a young Canberra a New South Wales Cup player, and look, he actually accidentally dropped an F-bomb, and he said sorry straight away. But yeah, for the fact, it's really disappointing for me, because I think for the fact that he's just come out and said, oh, look, I don't care that I'm swearing, it's like, well, you are a role model, and you are kids look up to you, and we see kids look at these players and what they do on the field, they want to emulate that on the field. Well, are they going to emulate that at home or at school or something like that? So, in my opinion, and as I said, people are for Latrell and against him as well. It's pretty disappointing.
Yeah, that's my big concern at the moment, right? So people are doing that. So young guys now coming through to NRL too, and be able to say, well, Latrell did this and you didn't do anything, so what, can't I do it? Well, you just told me I can't do it, but surely you can't punish me. You didn't punish him, so the NRL need to be careful how they tread with this one, because they're going to have to draw a line in the sand, I think, and just make it. They've got to put out a media release if they do something one way or another. They've been sitting on their hands here a little bit. Andrew Abdo probably dealing with it the right way. Anthony Maroon absolutely cracked it yesterday and said that Latrell Mitchell was a disgrace and shouldn't be wearing the jersey and all that sort of stuff. So,
and that's coming from a South Sydney fan as well. So obviously,
yeah, it's right.
He's disappointed. And look, this game was on Thursday night. The interview was on Thursday night, and nothing's sort of been done about it even today, which is Sunday. So that, I mean, I guess I think Latrell's on his property up the north coast of New South Wales at the moment. I guess the Rabbitohs had the weekend off after that game on Thursday night. So, yeah, look, it'll be interesting to see what happens the next time Latrell gets interviewed on TV or on radio after a game.
Yeah, well, they grab him all the time, right? So, like, you should just know this is going to happen. You could go, mate, game was crap. Not very happy with how it went. Got 100 tries. So people got upset too, not just because he swore and said he didn't care about it. Then he praised himself for how he went. So who was calling? Dan Ganane was calling it for Triple M, and he was upset about the way it was managed. So, and he said, "What are we going to have another Chris Wynington issue and that sort of stuff?" But he just didn't like the fact that they thought Latrell was just disrespectful about everything else. That he was disappointed that he was swearing, but he's more disappointed he said he didn't care, and he's disrespectful to his teammates, and that was more interested in his personal achievements than how the result went and what the Rabbitohs should be doing. He wasn't interested in really having an interview, and they probably should have just let him walk once it started going off, or would have gone, okay, thanks, Latrell, yeah, all right, see ya. I would have it down and
puts
stopped
the interviewer in a tough position as well when that's happening. I mean, I'm not a live radio interviewer of rugby league players, so I don't know how I would have handled it. Maybe they could have just said the old technical issue problem at the moment, and we'll try and get Latrell back on, and then maybe had a word to him or something. I don't know, but it puts him in a difficult position as well.
Yeah, well, I used to do live interviews after my games and interview different people in rugby union and stuff like that, and I stopped doing it after a couple of guys did exactly that, right? So you're always open that could happen. So some of this, to a certain degree, they need to can it or bomb it. So you need to realise if it's going to happen, just drop the interview, right? So after that, then I pre-record, so I'll do the interviews, and if they're good, then I can replay them after the game. You normally don't have enough time to edit anything anyway, so if something happens and you're live on air, like it's going live to air, that's your bad luck. So you either don't do it, you put it on delay even by 30 seconds, so you get one just after you've done it, and then do it. But then do those straight crosses, well, you're susceptible to that sort of stuff. But saying that, probably doesn't happen all that often, right? No. It's not something that happens all the time. So not too bad there overall.
And to the game, Reece Walsh was outstanding for the Broncos, and a injury concern to Adam Reynolds as well. I don't think he'll be playing this week against the Panthers, the grand final rematch down here in Penrith. So that's a big blow for the Broncos. I'm not too sure how long he'll be out for, but he won't be playing, I don't think. But the Broncos, they got back on track and got a win in front of their home fans, and now the Rabbitohs struggling a little bit. They're 0-2 to start the season, so they'll have to go back and have a look because they've got a big grudge match next week against the Roosters. Absolutely. So they're going to have a tough run heading in. The Roosters dropped the game today, so we'll see how it all goes. Anyway, we'll keep on kicking on. The Sharks and the Bulldogs, so at the Big Sports Breakfast lunch on Friday, Grubby came out and just threw a one-liner out there. I think said, the Sharks are going to get ambushed, right? We're going to run them over here. So he honestly believes that sort of stuff. And Cronulla, they were up for the task, I can tell you. Canterbury looked like they just started slow, and then Cronulla got into momentum, and it was all too late to do anything else about it. So they got 25 points to 6 in the end on Friday night as well. Yeah, look, it was a much improved effort from the Bulldogs from the previous week where they lost to Parramatta. They actually scored the first try through Blake Wilson, and it was 6-6 at half-time, and they were really putting up a good fight against the Sharks, and I guess the home crowd of the Sharks got them home, and they ended up scoring 3 tries in the second half. So Nico Hines, he also kicked a field goal as well to make it 25 points to 6. The Sharks, they're in good form at the moment. They had a good win against the Warriors in New Zealand. They're flying 2 wins out of 2, but I wouldn't say it was a disastrous performance from the Bulldogs. As I said, I think they improved a lot from the week before, and look, they're only taking minor steps at the moment. Matt Burton, there's been a lot of talk about him, whether 5'8" is his position, or whether he should be moved to maybe centre or maybe fullback as well, just to get him more involved in the game. I think it's been said that at 5'8", or basically all he's there is to pass and kick the big massive bombs on the fifth tackle. So if he's in centre or fullback, maybe gets his hands on the ball a little bit more in an attacking position. So whether that's his choice or not, or whether it's the coach's choice, who knows? But we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe these first few weeks he might stay there, and if it's not working, they may change his position. But a better effort from the Bulldogs, and the Sharks are going well at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Sharks will be happy with that moving on too. And the Bulldogs, they're just going to have to wait. So it'll be a couple more weeks till they get to hit the ground running there with some wins. The Panthers took on the Eels on Friday night. Panthers got the win there, 26 points to 18. I didn't think the Panthers were that good, either, to be honest with you. I'm not worried about them not kicking on the last. Now, I get the whole point. What they're doing now, just they make teams have to grind out the hard way. So, because everyone knows if you kick the ball into the in goal, if it gets either rolls dead in goal or whatever, then you get 7th tackle and bring it back to 20-metre line, or you could be lucky you might sit up and you either get a try or you get the ball back again. So how Penrith are playing at the moment and running the ball all the way, well, it's given them the option to make the other team have to bring it out from their own try line. So I get the point of that. I think they started slow. I think they made a few mistakes as well. The Eels looked pretty good at half-time. Like, I only saw right before half-time this morning. I got home from the radio, so I saw the Eels get that try that took them to be up at half-time. And then after what Penrith once they got in front, in the second half they controlled the momentum and could have maybe put some more tries on, but it just didn't happen. It was a little bit error-ridden match, really.
Yeah, look, before that, it was a sold-out crowd at Bluebet Stadium. I mean, only 21,500 there, but it was a sellout, so it just shows you that rugby league at the moment is going well with sellout crowds. There was another one today at Brookvale. The Warriors have sold out a couple of games already. So, look, the crowds are coming back to rugby league, which is great. To the actual game, Parramatta got off to a good start there with Joey Lussick sneaking over from dummy half. And then the Panthers came back. Bit of controversy in the game as well with Jerome Luai with a swinging arm on Bailey Simonson in the 4th minute, I think it was. Bailey had to go off. He failed his HIA, so Parramatta were without a player for that game, and he was put on report but wasn't sin binned for a high shot, and then he had the tripping incident as well with Mitchell Moses. So bit of a, I guess, controversial night for Jerome, but he got charged with those 2 charges, but he hasn't been suspended, so he'll be free to play against the Broncos this week, which is probably a bit of a surprise to, I guess, Parramatta fans and I guess a few other rugby league fans as well. There's calls about whether the Panthers players get protected or not. I don't know. It's just a bit of consistency. But look, it was a good game. Isaac Tungo, who re-signed with the club till 2028, I think it is. He had a great game, scored a try. Nathan Cleary just directed the club around, the team around on the park. Isaiah Yeo did a crossfield kick and Taruva scored, so unlike Isaiah to kick the ball across. But look, it was anyone's game at half-time, 18-16, as you said. Jermaine Hopgood scored a try just before half-time, and Sean Lane scored a try as well before that off Dylan Brown passes, so he had a bit of an input there. But in the end, Parramatta just couldn't get the win, and Panthers, they get their first win of the year, and as I said, they'll be playing the Broncos next week at home again in a grand final rematch.
Yeah, I think Penrith will probably roll on with that one too. We'll see how that all goes. I'm not sure if Brisbane picked up any injuries or anything they're going to need to worry about, but I think Penrith probably look all right moving forward. This next game, the Raiders up against the Tigers. So the Raiders won 32 points to 12. There's some shots fired earlier through the week across the bow at Benji Marshall. People saying he has a poor work ethic because he doesn't turn up till 9 in the morning and he goes at 3 in the afternoon. So are people trying to spear him or what? Because I've heard a few people say he needs to get 5 games. If he doesn't get at least 2 wins, he should be sacked. And that comes from West Tigers people. Well,
that sort of information is probably, and about his coaching, has probably come from someone within the West Tigers, you would like to think. But, I mean, does it really matter how long or what time he gets to work and what time he leaves work if he gets results? I don't think so. And also too, anyone in the workforce knows that you got to have a work-life balance. So he's come out and said that between 5 and 8 every day is family time, and good on him for saying that. And he makes time for his family, and because your kids are only young once, and they do grow up, and then they're not kids anymore. So he wants to spend that family time there. And I mean, who's to say that he's not a 24/7 coach? I mean, obviously those 3 hours he's not a coach, but who's to say that he doesn't sleep coaching and thinking about what he's going to do for his team? And look, it's a bit unfair, I think. I mean, he's had one game on the weekend as coach, so it's a very hard thing to say. I mean, if you say that now, and then what happens if miraculously the Tigers come out and win the comp? I mean, he'll be a genius. So it's hard to say, and I probably think it's a bit of criticism against Benji Marshall.
Yeah, I think some of the things that to be looking at. But so the only question I really have with Benji Marshall and his appointment is, why would you sign an untested coach for 5 years up front? And the same as Cameron Ciraldo, why would you sign him for so long? You don't need to make that much commitment to it. Get the guy in for a year or two, let them feel their way and see how they're going, see if it works for them, works for you, and then you can give them the option there, go for a couple of extra years and all that on the back end of it. But Bob said do some weird things at the moment, so, and desperation makes you do that, right? I don't know if they thought they could find another coach. I've already heard people from West Tigers say they think the club should be moved to somewhere else. So straight off the bat, it's coming up the Perth and all these other good things, and other people. So I actually genuinely don't. That's probably a better option for them, because the alternative is offering a couple of alternatives out, and people said they don't mind it. Merge West Tigers with Canterbury or some sort of mix of that. Penrith and Parramatta, some mix of that, if they want to streamline it. But it's not like there's 28 teams in the NRL and they're trying to make it smaller. They're trying to get some expansion in strategic areas. West Tigers are in an area now which is dropping in the fringes of the catchment of Parramatta right into the catchment of Canterbury as well. Would it be logical to do something there? Would it be logical if that was a merger at all down the track?
I don't think they could merge with another club, considering they're already two clubs in one. I don't think they could add another one there. Look, I just think you got to give Benji a chance, and I think, yeah, you are right. Probably a 5-year deal is probably a massive contract for a new coach, considering he's untested. Difference with him and probably Cameron Ciraldo is Cameron's probably, I think he's had some under 20s coaching before and assistant coaching before for a long time. So that's probably a little bit of a difference there. I know Benji was there last year as a assistant coach as well, but not as much coaching experience, I think, as Cameron Ciraldo, although Benji has played over 300 games in the NRL and is, he's a premiership winner, he's a World Cup winner. He knows how to play the game, obviously, and he's been around the game all his life. So, but coaching is a different thing. So, I don't think another merger with another club would work. They've got a great junior base. They got, as you said, they got a lot to choose from, a lot of areas to choose from. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens there. But as I said, it's only the first game that he's coached in the NRL, so we'll see how he goes in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's right. So I suppose, like Cameron Ciraldo, I think he's coaching for about 4 years or 5 years in the under-20s and the New South Wales Cup and all that sort of stuff. So he cut his teeth for a while coaching, because it's completely different, right? When you coach, you think everything's going to be easy, like when you're playing, or you could do it easy. Yeah, you could do it on odd occasions. When you got to do it day in, day out, that's why you can't really play and coach. It's too difficult to do it. I tried to do it and playing soccer and that for years and did both badly in the end. So, and even the professionals, just saw Ryan Giggs do it at Manchester United for a while, take over as interim coach. And once he did that, he pretty much stopped playing altogether. Like, he just couldn't do it, couldn't manage the side on the field. And when you go on the field, you're not managing it, someone else is. So the question is, well, why would you do both? Like, you need to do one or the other and do one well, like both get subjected. It doesn't matter now because Benji Marshall's not playing. But, yeah, it's just interesting. We'll see how it goes down the track. The only thing I probably wouldn't have done is the 5-year deal at the moment. The rest of it, I think West Tigers will work their way out of it to some degree. I still think they're looking for a Gareth Ellis-style player, but they haven't found yet. So, like a big, robust second row, or I'd probably like someone like Jason Taumalolo would be a good fit for them at the moment. So I think he brings something different to the side, but they're not going to get him because he's got like a 56-year contract with the Cowboys or something like that anyway.
On the other side, the Raiders, though, they're flying. They got 2 wins in a row, and Ricky Stewart's got his 250th win as coach in the NRL. So they're playing some pretty good football at the moment this year. It was their first home game of the year. And look, many sort of people thought they may have been down the bottom of the ladder, but it's been the reverse at the moment. They're up there at one of the top teams, 2 from 2, so they're playing some pretty good footy at the moment. Yeah,
I thought the Raiders are probably, they're a side that will surprise you. really aim up higher than what they probably should. So I knew they'd be probably around the 8, or thought they'd be around the 8, either just on the fringe in or just on the fringe out. I thought probably out. So, but at the moment they're showing why they could actually be a genuine contender. Probably not to win the comp, but they can they're a bit of a momentum team. When they get a bit of a decent run there and roll of results, they'll keep on kicking on and roll on the back of that. The next game, this is no surprise, and I think one of these sides is headed for trouble, and the other side is already in trouble. Cowboys 21-20 winners over the Knights, so decent win for Todd Payton's side, so even though they just snatched it. And the Knights, I think they've got some bigger problems, and they've probably been a little bit lucky maybe at the moment. I'm not sure they're going to be in the top 8 this year, just based on what I've seen at the moment.
Yeah, 2 losses in a row now for the Knights, one at home and away. Look, Todd Payton said, I think, after the game that even though they won by 1 point, it is a win, and nobody later on in the year will remember how you won or by how much you won, just the fact that you did win and got the 2 points, which is what they did. Newcastle will be upset at losing this game because I think they were pretty sort of much in control of this game for most of it, and I guess it was 12-0 at half time. See, they were travelling really well, but in the second half they just came out and they only scored 1 try in the second half, and North Queensland came away with it. Ended up going to golden point. So Valentine Holmes, a bit unusual day with the boot, only kicked 2 from 4. Usually he's a pretty good kicker, but on a couple of them he wasn't striking them too well. So it wouldn't have gone to golden point, but it did, and Chad Townsend kicked the winning field goal at the first attempt that the Cowboys had. Kyle Felt, he scored his record equaling try for most tries scored for the Cowboys, 130. He joins Matt Bowen on 130 now, so his next try he'll become the leading try scorer for the Cowboys of all time, so congratulations to him. But the Newcastle, I think they've got Melbourne next week, and that's a pretty tough game, and they'll be upset that they lost this game, and they'll want to get the win next week just to get their season off to a good start, because otherwise they'll start slipping away.
Yeah, well, I'm expecting they're probably going to drop the game next week too. At the moment, after what the Storm did to the Warriors, 30 points to 26, they won. They were down 26-24, 5 seconds to go. Who scored the try in the corner, went flying through the air like Superman? I just can't believe that, right? The Warriors had that game.
You don't know? You haven't heard the name?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't see it. Didn't see who did it.
Everyone has been talking about it. It's all been over social media. It was Xavier Coates, who people are saying that it is the best try that they've ever seen in rugby league, the NRL. Look, it was a cracker of a try. As you said, it was in the last minute of play. The ball swept out to Xavier's edge, and he got the ball off, I think it was Remus Smith, and had a little bit of work to do up against Alan Watene-Zelezniak, and basically jumped from about 5 or so metres out from the line, basically sort of jumped over Talon's sort of head, and transferred the ball from his left hand to his right hand to put it down, and got it down. And look, it was a great try, but it got me thinking: is it the best NRL try ever or rugby league try ever? I cast my mind back to Brett Morris against the Sharks. He scored one which was pretty similar. That one was off a kick though, in the corner at Shark Park one night, but that one was pretty spectacular. David Mead scored one on the run for the Gold Coast, just a quick bounce of the ball, again off a kick. But this one was done all by Xavier, and look, that's going to be on highlights reels forever now. And if the Americans want to get into the game of rugby league, they just have to watch things like that.
Yeah, 100%. So there's two tries I can think of that might be above that. So Brett Mullins got one for Canberra back in the 90s, chip and chased over the top back in his own quarter, regathered and went all the way. That was a pretty good try because they had to do it individual too. And Darren South did one for St George against Cronulla in the pretty sure it's Cronulla, absolute teeming rain at Cogra Jubilee back in 1990 or something, and went retrieved the ball from his own in goal, so it looked like it was going to become a try or something, and then managed to put it on, put the footwork on, beat about 9 players, and he scored under the post. He just, when he got there, it just collapsed over the try line for what he did. But for athleticism, what he had to do, that was like a pretty amazing try. And Xavier Coates has scored a few of them already. So I personally think it should be out, right? If you go over the sideline at all, it should be like a cricket, would be the equivalent of 6. So if it's over the line, whether it's in the ground you're touching it or not, and I'm saying with this rugby or anything, the ball is out of play. So once the ball is partially or completely over the line, it's out of play, whether you're in, out, or otherwise, it doesn't matter. So, but then people say, oh, they'll take out spectacular tries. Whatever, score them under the post then. So I don't mind. Just change it up. I want to see something different happen. So rugby league, I want to see, and I don't reckon that when you kick a 40-metre drop goal, unless it's coming from if you're kicking one, you're a back, 2 points. If a prop kicks one, I reckon you should give him 3 points. So, and we should try to encourage more props to do it. So,
do you reckon coaches will let props try and kick a 40-metre field goal?
Oh, how many do you reckon will start having? I'll bet a few start having a crack if you tell them it's worth 3 points. So. I'll go.
If it's worth 4 or 5, maybe, but I don't think that's going to happen. To be honest, I don't think the coaches will let front rowers kick the ball that far. they take their kicking license off them when they do like a grubber kick or something, and it goes out.
Could you imagine someone trying to do crossfield kicks like Nathan Cleary does from time to time? Someone will be like, "Well, who did that? Who did that?" And look across the line. Jared Hargraves get him off. So there you go.
See, Isaiah Yo's okay because his kicks lead to tries. So
yeah, so right. Right, the next game, Sea Eagles against. So let's just kick back on the Storm there for a second. They are in fine form at the moment, so they're definitely the best team in the competition. So from what I've seen at the moment, Manly pretty close. Penrith, I reckon they're a few weeks off being anywhere near their best. There's still a little bit to go. The Eels probably need to put a few more games on the board before I can gauge it. But Melbourne are pretty close to their full strength at the moment, right? So they got a lot to go. The Sea Eagles, so have they turned it around because they picked up Luke Brooks, right? So because I can tell you the only major difference in their side this year is now they've got Luke Brooks. I'm not saying he's winning it, but he's the right linked player and he's linking with all the stuff. He got a few try assists in Las Vegas now. I'm pretty sure he's done it again today against the Roosters, and they got up 21-14. It said the Roosters at the start of the year would be the top 2 or bottom 5. Well, today they seriously look like they just had no halves, right? Luke Keary is a little bit flat, and Sam Walker got just chopped in the tackle, and I just think that the deficiency there in the halves is going to cost them a competition. So they've got it all over the rest of the field, right? I don't know they've got the halves to win the comp.
Well, the Sea Eagles, they're on fire, 2 wins in a row now. It was the Las Vegas grand finalists or winners that played today, and at another sellout crowd, another sellout game of rugby league at I call it Brookvale Oval, but 4 Pines Park it's called. And look, as you said, Luke Brooks, yes, he is a bit of a not mystery, but a link in the chain that makes Manly go so well. He played really well again today. He had an opportunity to score a try, but his left foot went out, unfortunately, over the sideline. Otherwise, he would have scored. But, yeah, he was playing well. He made a couple of line breaks as well. And that's how the Sea Eagles got the win. The Roosters, they were in and around the game, and they were looking good. At one stage, he didn't know who was going to win because it was so close. 12-10 at half time, so still anybody's game. And then I guess the Sea Eagles through new recruit Tommy Talau scored a try right after half time, and then the Roosters scored in the 55th minute to another new recruit, Dominic Young, as well. Daly Cherry Evans put the icing on the cake with the 1 point field goal, and that was only about 20 metres out, so and not a front row forward, so he kicked another field goal. He's 27th, I think it is, in his career, so he certainly is one of the best field goal kickers in the game at the moment. Look, I think the Sea Eagles, they're flying. They've got Parramatta next Sunday at Parramatta, so that should be a good game. The Roosters, they got the arch rival South Sydney, so the Roosters have won one game, South have won none, so that'll be an interesting clash, that one for sure.
Yeah, 100%. So the Sea Eagles, one thing I like about them, Fabe, at the moment they really look like the Sea Eagles side that was carving it up when Matt Orford was there back in about 2007 to 2011 or 12. So they're a strong side. They look like they're humming along well. I think Luke Brooks really is like sort of a missing link for them to go well. People are saying, what will happen if Tom Trbojevic gets injured? I think they've got enough depth in their outside backs. That's not going to be a problem. The bigger problem will be if they lost, let's say, one or both halves. So if you take out half of most teams, you're going to take out the team, right? Perhaps maybe not for Penrith, but if you lost Cleary for long enough in Penrith, they're going to have problems too. If you took out someone's main half, the Seagulls just look like they're going nicely. The Roosters, from what I heard, they were going end to end, sounded good, but the difference between the Seagulls and the Roosters at the end of the day was the two halves, right? So Luke Keary's all right, Sam Walker's okay, but then you've got Daly Cherry Evans, top of the game, Queensland, and Luke Brooks is now firing well and getting the job done. So I'd say, like, when you match them up against everybody else, well, that's the difference in the game. So, and they go against a loss. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's just a new lease of life for Luke Brooks being at Manly, and he just doesn't have to worry about being the main man in the team like he was at the Tigers. When he was at the Tigers, all the expectation was on Luke Brooks to run the team around and get the victory for the Tigers. But now that he's at Manly, he's got DCE there, and he will be the leader of that team when come Origin time, and that'll be an interesting time for Manly as well, because obviously there'll be Tom and Jake Trbojevic who are playing for New South Wales and Daly for Queensland, so he will be leading the team around then, and I just think it's a new lease of life for him. In terms of the Roosters halves, well, they're probably the halves that they're going to go with. Luke Keary went off late in the game for a HIA. I think he'll be right for next week against South Sydney. I don't think it was a major HIA. In saying that, though, they all are major when it comes to HIAs, I guess. But I think he'll be right for next week against South Sydney.
Yeah, I reckon he'll probably be all right. Joey Manu at the moment, should he be playing number 6 for the Roosters, move Keary into 7 like that, they'll get a different line of attack. Sam Walker's all right. Like I said, that the X factor thing is going to be a half for them. That's going to hurt them, right? Because the other sides, they've got either competition winners, the good sides, or they've got State of Origin players or whatever. He is not going to be either. And people would say he's going to be a Queensland half. I can't see it, right? Or I can't see it any time in a hurry. I think he's got a lot to develop still. I'm not saying he won't get there, but he's not there yet, 100%.
Yeah, look, he has probably been mentioned as a Queensland halfback. Maybe when DCE retires, I think you still got Ben Hunt there as well, but the Queenslanders they've used him in a hooker position before. Look, there's always been a lot of pressure on Sam Walker throughout his very short career because, I guess, of the expectation of playing at the Roosters. The Roosters are in the NRL to win competitions, and I think he's probably at the moment playing with that expectation like Luke Brooks did at the Tigers. I mean, sure, there's other star players at the Roosters to help him, but there's still a lot of expectation on Sam Walker. But look, he'll get there. He'll get there. I think he's played over 50 games now, so that's when you generally sort of maybe get a guide as to how you're going to go throughout your career. But he's still a very good player, so look, maybe today was just an off day for him.
Yeah, he's on his way. If you compare him to other Roosters halves they've had in the past, like through the 80s, like Laurie Spina, that was in the same position in Queensland behind Alan Langer and thereabouts. Laurie Spina was a slightly different player, still good. Sam Walker, he's got work to do. He's still developing, right? He's not that old. He's only a young guy, so he's got everything ahead of him still. But I would say that will be one of the things that will hurt the Roosters the most, because they dropped massive dough on having like the world's best outside backs. But if you can't link them up, and see, last year I think James Tedesco, when they were playing poorly, he was playing poorly too. And after the Origin, after he got a bit of a razzle about that, he'd come back and they played better. So he picked it up. Joey Manu decided he could play every single game and play good every game, which was good for the Roosters fans, but I still don't like him. And that just, the guy's not he can be a world beater. Like, I heard someone say they rate him at like as a 1 million plus player. I reckon he quite well could be. He needs that consistency, but I always thought the same thing with Daly Cherry Evans for a while. I thought that he needed other players to help bring his game out as well. So is Luke Keary the right man to be next to Sam Walker? Luke Keary's not going to play forever. He's 30 years old or something now. He's got a couple of years probably left in the tank. And then the options for Roosters to come through? If Joey Manu comes back, it would be an obvious 6. I'm not sure who else what their other options are.
Yeah, they have used Joey in at 6 before. They did win a couple of games there, and I don't know whether he'd want to play number 6, although he'd get his hands on the ball more often. That could be an option. I think they've got young Sandon Smith as well in there, who plays a bit of hooker and half as well. I guess it's just a little bit like the South Sydney situation as well with Lachlan Elias. There's a lot of pressure on him as well with that club as to winning games, and I think you just have to persist with him. And look, at the end of the day, it's only round 2, so hopefully they can get their stuff together and start winning games. I mean, Sam Walker played all right over in Vegas in round 1, so as I said, maybe it could have just been an off day for him, and something that the club will have to look at, and they'll obviously review, and obviously he'll go back to his coach, Trent Robinson, and get advice off him as well as to what happened in that game and what he can work on, and go from there.
Yeah, that's right. So I still think the Roosters are like a top 2 or bottom 5 side, so someone that can either be up and really win the comp. So unsure, right? They got the players to do it. So consistency hurt them last year. They were losing games they should have won. I'm wondering if they're going to do that again. I don't know, because I think Tedesco's playing all right at the moment. Last year he really wasn't. In this next game, the Dolphins, they've restored my faith in reality that the Dragons are where they should be sitting at the moment. They're going to be, well, they won't be second last because they won last week, but 32 points to 0. Probably a bit of a surprise. I didn't think they're going to whack St George like this. Still 9 minutes to go. Maybe the Dragons can make a comeback and get 36 points in the last 9 minutes, but I don't think they will. 34-0. Wow. Did you think the Dolphins will pull this out after getting tapped by the Cowboys last week? I really didn't see this coming. I actually think I could have even maybe picked St George after their result last week.
Well, I actually did pick St George after last week's result. I just thought last week they showed a lot of grit and got the job done against the Titans. But this game here, 34-0 at the moment. As you said, 9 minutes to go. The Dolphins, their first real home game. They had a home game last week at Suncorp Stadium, but this is back at KO Stadium in Redcliffe. So their first real home game, I guess you could call it, and they're really turning it on. 34-0. Hamiso Tabuai-Fidow, he scored the first try. It was a length of the field job. No one came near him. Mark Nichols, the GOAT, he scored a try as well. Jeremy Marshall-King, he copped he had to go off for a HIA at the start of the game in the first half after copping a Ben Hunt kick in the head. So it was a falcon, but he went off for a HIA and he's just scored a try just then too. So look, the Dolphins, they're playing really well this week. They obviously got a big rev up from Wayne, and just as I speak, the Hammer's gone in for his third try. So look, they're putting those 40 points on like they got put on against them last week.
Yeah, still time for a comeback. Let's see how. Hanging there, Dragons fans. I saw a lot of them at the Big Sports Breakfast Lunch are pretty confident. They're going, "Oh, St George are going to do all right this year." You know, like, are they? So said, how do you think they're going to go, Duckman? Said, honestly, I didn't think they were going to do that well, and they surprised me. They tapped the West Tigers in the trial, then they won last week pretty easy. I said, maybe they will do better than what I thought. Well, maybe not. So we'll see. It is round two now, travelling away. So Shane Flanagan, he's got a hard job to do, right? He's trying to do a rebuild, and I'm not sure he actually bought his own players in. Did he had to come in and work with what he's got? I think that's how it worked this year. I don't think he really got the stamp his own squad onto what he's got at the moment.
I think he's got a couple of off-season purchases that were his. Obviously, his son Kyle is there. Raymond Fatala Mariner that came from the Bulldogs. Luciano Leilua, he got him off the Cowboys in an off-season buy. So he has got a couple of players there. A lot of these Dragons players were there already. There was the little bit of talk last week that Zach Lomax wasn't happy playing on the wing and wanted a release from the club. So who knows, maybe that drama's going on a little bit, but a few little rumblings there after the Ben Hunt rumblings from last year about him wanting to leave. But look, as I said, I thought they would have got a lot of confidence out of last week and turned it on, not turned it on, but been a bit more competitive this week. But this Dolphins team just come out and just blitzed it.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm going to make a big call. Before the end of the season, I reckon we will see Adam Dewey, because there's some dramas going on west there, so I just don't think he's fitting in with what the plans are going to be, and he's looking for an opportunity elsewhere. We might actually see him at the Dragons, because the Dragons are probably someone who's looking for a guy who's got a bit of X-factor stuff. Like Adam Dewey can bring him a bit of versatility, so he might end up being at the Dragons. He's a decent player, not a massive superstar, but he's going to get the job done well for anyone he goes to. He's probably a bit like Luke Brooks, right? He's probably struggled because he didn't have a side that's smashing it out for him. So going somewhere where they've got different players, different opportunities might be good for him, really, if that happens. Interesting.
And it's an important game for the Dolphins as well tonight, because they've got the bye next week. So a bit of a 4-point game for them, so that'll give them confidence as well. Being on 4 points this early on in the season, so important win for them.
Yeah, well, they'll be happy. I had 2 buys in a row today and next week, so get extra rest now. So that's very hard on the Dragons fans. So they will seriously be hoping that they just are more consistent, because last year, I don't know how many times watched the Dragons get in front of games or be close in stages in the games and then just get tapped up at the end of games. So if they can get that consistency for the whole 80 minutes, I think they turn their season around from being like second last to potentially being on the fringe of the top 8, because that's probably realistically where they'd be aiming for, and they've got the ability to do it if they can get a couple of extra guys here or there as well into the squad.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think Shane Flanagan's come out and said that obviously they do want to make the top 8, but it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of hard work to get there, and maybe not this year, but he's definitely wanting to get this team into the finals. So it's going to take a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat and tears, and to turn this club around. But we saw last week that he turned it around and they had a great win. Unfortunately this week not a good performance, and so they'll have to go back to the drawing board next week at training and just find out where it all went wrong and prepare themselves for the Cowboys next Saturday night.
Yeah. You know who might be good for the Dragons, actually thinking about it? So if they could pick up someone like Luke Garner next year, who Penrith can't really keep, probably from salary cap reasons and that, he might be a nice fit into the Dragons, coming in at like second row or as a extra prop or whatever as well. So it's not really his cut to be a prop, but yeah, that could be something different down the track. So what do you got in the Paracade podcast this week, Troy? What's happening?
Massive week again this week coming up. I'll have a replay chat of this one to come out, maybe today, maybe tomorrow night, or tomorrow. I'll have the tipping podcast come out on a Tuesday after Team List Tuesdays. I'll have another interview-based podcast come out this week. Currently, I've got Tom from Retro Rugby League. Check him out on social media. He's into buying and selling Retro Rugby League jerseys and tips and tricks about how to clean them up, get rid of signatures on there, unwanted signatures on there, and a great bloke, Tom. He's a Roosters fan, so he'll be disappointed about today's result. And hoping to find a Manly fan who I can do a game day preview with the Eels taking on the Sea Eagles next Sunday. So plenty to come up next week on the podcast and also on the social media channels.
Yeah, I know a couple of Manly fans who might be keen for a chat, so let me know how hard you want to chase them, and I'll get in touch with a couple of people that aren't going to get you in any problems with anybody, including the NRL, police, ACMA, all these sorts of things. So there's a couple of people I know might do a Latrell as well on you, so I'll be not sending them your way either.
Nah, fair enough. I'll let you know how I go.
Yeah, too easy. Right, Troy, thanks for coming on tonight. I appreciate your time again, and I look forward to having a chat with you next Friday night.
Yeah, not a problem, Duckman. Thank you very much. Enjoy your week, and yeah, we'll chat next Friday night.
Absolutely will do. See you, Troy.
See you, mate.